Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Wachakwadash, and giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom. A salutation to all you Sensei Akim across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasama Gan from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Wachakwadash, to feed the elect. Now, in this lesson, it's going to be prophecy and exhortation, all right, through the spirit, just going quickly about a particular topic that's been in my spirit as far as the last days, going into all hell breaking loose and, the virgin daughter of Babylon, a.k.a. the United States, the suffering that's going to come upon the Jerusalem, all right, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, all right, the true Hebrew Israelites, the MOTB, the mark of the beast, being established when this economy tanks. With the tariff wars that's going on right now, things are going to happen, and it's going to continue. And a lot of sources are actually prophesying, right? A lot of sources are prophesying a collapse, happening. And, it could be happening anytime this summer or before the summer, all right? And we have to prepare for that. The reality is when it does happen, a lot of people are going to be hurting. All right. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of things. Now, if you're a man of the Lord and you believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and you trust, you know that we don't have no affinity and no attachment to anything in this world. All right. So therefore, whatever happens, we must be ready. And you're going to have bread lines, in the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised. In the beginning, you have bread lines, regular bread lines where you actually get some food. But then eventually, as the economy worsens, you're going to have, and the currency is changed, you're going to have the MOTB be established. And I believe you're going to have bread lines and you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to make a decision, to either continue keep it moving or line up, extend your arm and get the MOTB so you can get that grain, that bag of rice, or that loaf of bread to feed yourself and your family. And I was talking to one of the Akim in the camp, one of the young brothers in the camp about, unfortunately, I keep getting thoughts that, man, you're gonna have individuals that know that the microchip is the MOTB, and they're gonna have a thought in their mind, and they're gonna have an evil thought in their mind to take it. Right, just one time, take it, just to go out and purchase and purchase something, or in an act of desperation, right? In the hour of temptation, desperation is gonna overtake some souls in Israel, and they're gonna have an evil thought of deception, self-deception, and want to take the microchip, and thinking that they'll take the microchip just once, purchase whatever item they desperately need, and then physically remove the chip out of their hands and believe that some way, somehow, that would absolve them from being destroyed. And that's just not going to happen. Once you make that decision, you've made that decision. You're not going to get a second chance to make the right decision when it comes to the microchip. Once you accept it, that means you've given up hope. That means you've fallen into despair. All right. And if you might want to remove it physically, but the Lord is going to get rid of you. Is going to destroy you. So we have to be mindful. And this, with everything that's going on in the news right now, with, AP's talking about Trump is in no rush to end tariffs as he meets with Italy's Meloni. All right? He's in no rush because Nero 2.0 is on a mission, and whatever whatever his overlords are telling him to do, is going to actually bring down this economy, and that's going to force this current fiat currency to be removed and be replaced by the MOTB. All right, and people are going to have to make decisions. The hour of temptation is going to bring about desperation. It's going to be an hour of desperation, and like I said, unfortunately, you're going to have people get tricked in their minds. And the spirits and demons are going to play tricks on them. And if you're not a part of the elect, that's what's going to happen. That's why we in great fear, because we don't want to fall into desperation in the hour of temptation. This is Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills." Verse 11, "Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all that bear silver are cut off." All right, so the stock market is going to crash. The worldwide stock market is going to crash. That's just according to the scriptures. And we slowly but surely are inching towards that time. And it could happen anytime. It could happen this month. It could happen next month. It could happen this summer. It could happen going into fall. But it's definitely close. A lot of sources are talking about it. The gold is going all the way up, meaning what? A lot of people that are in the know, that always have inside trading information, they all buying gold. They're all buying gold. So this is a great sign that it's coming. All right, it is coming. And the only way to prepare is to have faith. All right, that's the only way, is to keep, not only have faith, but keep the faith. Because the hour of desperation, the hour of temptation, is going to take a lot of souls, and people going to make decisions thinking that they're tricking the Most High, but really they're going to be tricking themselves. You won't get the opportunity to just take the microchip just because you desperately want to, buy food for your family. Because your wife is in your ear talking about she's hungry, your child talking about they're hungry, and you fall into that carnal, weak state of mind of, well, I got to feed my family at all costs, and then you become desperate and make a bad a decision that's going to doom you and your family. This is the word desperation on Edom Online. It says hopelessness, lack or loss of hope. All right, especially in God's mercy. All right, a desperate state of mind. All right, from French desperation, or directly from Latin desperationum, despair. All right, despair. Now, when you break the word down, it says D, which is without, sperare, which is the hope. So without hope. So when you have despair, you're without hope. All right. Now, when you look up the word despair, actually, let me see. It should be. That's just, when you scroll down, the word despair means to lose hope, to be without hope. Now, the scripture speaks about, let me say, it says to lose hope, be without hope. It says stressed. So when you start hearing your child cry, your woman cry, and they're complaining at the fact that it's been 24 hours or it's been 48 hours. Listen, man, if the Lord has you going 48 hours without eating, like we fasted like that, right? We've had fast when we do 24 hours, some 48, and the ones of us, depending on what you're going through, you might have done a 72. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you got to push, depending on the level of demonic attacks you're going through. You might have to push when it comes to the fast. So, but the weak ones among you, they're not accustomed to that. So you might fall into the pressure of, having to feed them immediately because they haven't eaten for 24 hours. So you're going to have to keep the faith, and you're going to have to comfort them, and then knowing and reminding them that the Lord got us. Just because we have it, because mind you, this is the end of the world. The Lord is going to take care of us. He's going to make sure we good. But he not once did he said that we was going to eat 5 or 6 meals a day. Like, this is the end of the world. You expect everything to be hunky-dory when shit is ending and people are dying and bodies are all over in blood and guts. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be wary of that and not fall into despair, especially when it comes to the weaker vessels among us in these times. All right, very important. It says, yeah, that's what it says. All right, be dismayed, lose hope, despair. All right, so now let's go to Proverbs. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, Verse 8, and it says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. All right. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Now, perplexed means you're constantly bothered. All right. Which, as a man of the Lord, it comes with the territory, man. That's something that, you got to count. You count the cost, you always going to be perplexed. But eventually you will get answers. And once you get answers, and then you start a new journey of trials and tribulation, you end up being perplexed about the new trial and the new adversity, right? So we always perplexed, we always going through ups and downs, but we're not in despair, all right? Despair is losing hope. It's fully believing that whatever you're going through, it's impossible for Yahweh Shema to come through for you. And once that mindset, once that demon of despair has taken over, and you're in bad shape, because now you're prone to making bad decisions. Now you're prone to making carnal decisions. All right, you're gonna make moves that the natural man makes, because if food is scarce and there's only one person that has access to food, and he's telling you, and then your children, your family's hungry, and you're hungry, and that person is telling you, I have food for you, but then I need you to put the MOTB, right? I need you to put this device, this tracking device in your arm. Well, it's natural, if you want to survive, it's natural to want to do that, right? But see, that's the thing, that the natural way is to want to survive, it's the desperation to survive at all costs. But we're not natural men, we spiritual men. The spiritual man is able to elevate and know, well, you're not going to trap me. All right, Esau, Edom, the devil that the Bible speaks of, Satan, you're not going to trap me, by putting me in a situation where I'm going to forget about the spiritual essence. I'm going to forget about the mercy of the Lord. All right. So, and again, it's easier said than done for sure. But at the end of the day, it has to be done. We have to pass the final test, the final exam. All right. And nobody else is going to do it for you. Every single one of us will be faced with a situation in that time where we're going to make the biggest decision in our existence. We're going to make the decision that's either going to seal our fate as the elect or sealed our fate as 2/3 to be destroyed. All right. Nobody is going to escape that moment, that hour, as far as, when I say escape, as far as not be presented, with a situation. All right. That's just the reality of it. But now persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed. So we're not in despair. Because this is what happens when you're in desperation. This is Proverbs 13:12 in the CSB. It says hope. Because remember, despair means D without spare. That means hope. Without hope. It says hope delayed makes the heart sick, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. See, because the hope was delayed, the more the hope is delayed, your heart becomes sick. Because the heart is already desperately wicked. But then the heart gets into that desperate mode of survival at all costs. And yes, we have those instincts to want to survive, but those instincts are carnal instincts. All right? Those instincts are carnal instincts. We cannot rely on natural carnal instincts to survive when all hell breaks loose. We have to continue to pray and rely on Yahweh Shem Shai. And like I said, easier said than done, but it has to be done. And according to the scriptures, the elect will be provided with the courage, right, to continue in the faith, even when hope is slightly, delayed. Meaning, you haven't eaten in 24 hours. It doesn't mean that the Lord has forsaken you. All right. Don't go out and say, well, damn, it's been 24 hours. The Lord said my servant's going to eat. It's been 24 hours. Or you hear your wife saying, but husband, it's been 24 hours and we haven't eaten. Well, where's the God that you told us? You told us God was gonna take care of us. Look at us. We're starving. And nobody's starving after 24 hours and not eating, man. Being hungry and starving is two different things. But again, these are the things that, we're going to have to face. You have to get you to stay strong and know that the Lord has not forsaken you, so that your heart won't play tricks on you. Proverbs 13:12, hope delayed makes the heart sick, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. All right. So now, next precept is, let's go to, now let's hit this. This is Revelation 14, and I'm gonna start at well, let's just go straight to the point. This is Revelation 14:9, titled "Doom for Worshippers of the Beast." So if you get that thought and you think about, well, hey, let me just take this chip, man. Let me just take this chip, and I'm gonna take this chip. I'm gonna go and get the bag of rice for my family right quick, and then when we get out of here, because we get out of here, we just pluck it out. Nah, that's just not gonna work. All right, those tricky moves and Jedi mind tricks, you can't Jedi mind trick the Most High, man. That just ain't gonna work, bro. All right, and unfortunately, I can see those thoughts are gonna be roaming. Those spirits are gonna be roaming around and taking souls, man. Revelation 14:9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. See, you have to be patient. All right, we're going to have to be patient in certain situations. In the hour of temptation, the hour of desperation. So we can't be desperate in the hour of temptation. All right. Despair cannot be a part of it. We have to pray that the Lord remove despair from our hearts. All right. Revelation 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith in Hamashiach Yahushua. All right. So now let's keep going. This is Psalms chapter 31, verse 23. It says, "Oh, love the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully rewardeth the proud doer. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord." All right, so if you hope in the Lord, be of good courage. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be the toughest thing we've ever had to face. But if we are part of the elect, we're gonna be able to have the victory. Now, we don't know exactly who's an elect and who's not. We just speaking as hopeful elect. So therefore, as long as we keep the faith, the Lord is gonna come through for us, man. He is. We don't worship the type of power that's gonna ask you to fulfill your duty and to perform, and you've performed through the ups and downs, and then when it comes down to it, he just looks at you like, yeah, fuck out of here. And nah, the Lord is going to reward us. He's not wicked. All right. We have to believe that. Even if we have to die, it is what it is, right? But you can't sell out. You cannot sell out. So this is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. What does it mean to be kept from the hour of temptation? It means you're not going to fall into despair. It's not that you're not going to see a situation where, you get tempted, where everybody out here running towards that truck, that bread line with the food, and you and your family got to go the opposite way. You can smell the food and the cooking, especially when you haven't eaten for 24 hours, man. You can smell food damn near a mile away, But you're going to have to go the opposite way because you see You see them troops are giving out bags of rice and loaf of breads, and in the same time they implanting microchips in people's hands. So you know what's up. All right. Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Verse 11, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take that crown. All right, so basically that's how Shah is saying we got to hold fast, we got to be strong. And it's really, we have to really be strong when it matters. And that's the main thing. There's an old saying, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. I mean, you can have a great start, and all that, but man, you can't do all of this, and then when it finally counts, right? It's like the Super Bowl, man. It's like Super Bowl is the final play of the Super Bowl. You're on the 1 yard line, and you're the running back, and then all you gotta do is just running back dive, and then you fumble. Last play, no clock, you fumble the ball. You know what I'm saying? Touchback, game over. You can never, you can never go back to rectify that. It's over. So we really don't want to have that feeling as hopeful elect. So we want to continue to have faith so we don't fall into despair. And that's the lesson that I had for the hopeful elect of Yahweh Bashim El Shah. I hope you were edified as well as I was. Just continue to be faithful. Yahweh Bashim, Yahushua Bashim, V'chakodash, double honor to our apostles and elders of great millstone, and shalom and salutation to you, Sensei Akim. Shalom.